Oh man, bring those tunes back. Welcome everyone, and welcome to Moving with the Market, a Postscript webinar. My name is Mike Manheimer. I'm the CMO here at Postscript. I'm going to be your host today. Today, I'm joined by Kent Dagnall from Perfect Keto and Amber Reyes from Kapari, two Postscript merchants who you're going to be hearing from in just a little bit. I'm going to be acting as our moderator today. And since we really wanted to shine a light on our merchants, I'll be sharing just a little bit of data. And then I'm going to be turning it over to our awesome guests. So it's been another wild year in e-commerce. And as we've been chatting with all of our customers and the greater e-commerce community at large, we wanted to let everyone know that we hear you. From continued supply chain issues to a slowdown in sales year over year, there's a lot of uncertainties out there. And this isn't a totally unexpected surprise, though, at least for some of us. We knew that the post-pandemic boom would result in us moving back to a more reasonable, maybe even a slower growth pattern for e-commerce, and that consumers might start tightening up their wallets. So let's take a look at some data. We pulled some data from our own all-time order history from currently installed Postscript merchants, anonymized, of course. And starting in December of last year, you noticed orders dropped below the previous year for the first time. You can see the teal 2021 line versus the orange 2020 line. Now, if you look to the dotted line for 2022 versus the teal 2021 line, you'll see that this trend has continued into March, April, and May. In June, we did see the gap start to slow down just a little bit, but merchants are still hitting that annual summer slump just a little bit earlier than we're used to seeing. Now, this isn't something that's just specific to Postscript merchants. This data that you're looking at now is from the US Census Bureau. We first spotted this data on Shopify's blog, actually, and it confirms what we've been seeing internally. E-commerce is still growing steadily overall, but not at the crazy clip that we saw from the pandemic. So, unfortunately, it's probably safe to say the pandemic boost is over. And for e-commerce merchants like all of you, there's naturally a little bit of unease about how the coming months, and especially Q4, could actually look for all of us. Year to date, based on our data, we've seen sales down about 15% for our merchants. Now, we're not all about doom and gloom here at Postscript. We are about action, which is why I'm here with Kent and Amber to talk about how they're going to be approaching marketing their brands in the coming months. There are a lot of reasons why merchants are especially leaning into their own marketing channels right now. Facebook and Google aren't giving merchants any meaningful data anymore. There was the dreaded iOS 14 updates, iOS 16 coming this fall, that could affect inbox filtering, making it harder to have conversations with customers. All of this increasingly changing landscape, owned marketing is rising to the forefront. It gives merchants control. And now is the time to really double down on those efforts. So move some of your focus to places where you can own all of your customer data. That could be a blog. It could be a store app, email. We're biased, but our personal favorite, SMS. And you can drive down customer acquisition costs, you can build brand loyalty, and you can find better ways to retarget and communicate with your customers. So before I turn things over to Kent and Amber, I want to quickly introduce them and their brands. So Kent is the email and SMS marketing specialist for Perfect Keto. Perfect Keto has been on Postscript since May of 2020. And a lot of our Postscript employees are bona fide Perfect Keto loyalists, and for good reason. Their mission is to provide food, supplements, and education to millions aspiring to reach their health goals. They take a customer-first approach in everything that they do, which is very similar to what we preach here at Postscript. And Amber is the paid media manager for Kapari. They are an award-winning beauty brand that uses organic coconut with high-performance actives to create consciously made skincare and body care products. They've been on Postscript since November of 2019. Thank you both for being great, loyal Postscript customers. All right. So let's get into the Q&A with our speakers. I would like to kick off by asking you, Kent, about the ways that your team has been preparing for the recent economic instability. Is it something that you're feeling panicked about? Is it something you're prepared for, or are you somewhere in between?
Thanks so much, Mike. We definitely saw it coming. As you mentioned, like it couldn't have ever been a better situation for e-commerce than for the entire nation to be locked up for the last 2 years or so. The the situation, it had to change, and different parts of the country have returned to normal at different rates. So, Perfect Keto is a health-based, like mission-focused company that helps people reach their health goals, and we have absolutely seen we've been at the forefront of the change in consumer behavior. We'll just say. I would also just say that it's a no-brainer right now if your brand could focus on retail marketing. If you are in that area of people returning to stores, which we are, uh, finding creative ways to leverage your owned media that you've built up. So over the last 2 years, in order to help the channels that now are thriving, since people are returning to stores, that's kind of a no-brainer. That makes a lot of sense. We've also definitely been increasing two-way communications just to hear what people want to say. In SMS, of course, is the best channel for surveying, quizzing, and getting that interaction, especially with people who are on like the paid and social channels, and they're now coming over and becoming subscribers. We know how to convert them because we have this channel that has this incredible interaction.
Awesome. I love that, and I love leaning into the two-way communications, especially in these times. So we'll talk more about that for sure. So let's talk about something that's on the top of every merchant's mind all the time, which is acquiring new customers. So Kent, how are you acquiring new customers, and how are you utilizing SMS once you've got them in the funnel?
Well, if I can acquire an SMS subscriber, that's the most valuable subscriber I can get. We ask for phone numbers now before we ask for emails, just to acknowledge this reality. And 2022, I think, is the year that people became comfortable with receiving these marketing texts. So there hasn't been a change in customer behavior that I've seen. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, Amber. But anytime that we've done something that has had the two-way like flow interaction to it, we've been able to get better data than any other channels. And as far as which content works in order to convert, all of the other channels are now looking to us, because we actually have the actionable data where perhaps in the past we used to look to the paid or the social channels to see what content converted. So if that makes sense, everything is all about content. If you'd have asked me years ago when I was in media buying that, it wasn't about the metrics and the big data, it was going to be all about the content, I wouldn't have believed you. But for sure, everything is all about that content, and it has to be on point, right? People are savvy these days.
Yeah, totally. And I love that your investment in SMS first and being able to have those conversations. I think people are definitely more willing to get into conversations with brands that they love and have a relationship. And there's obviously a lot of data you can use to determine whether your audience is ready for that or not. But I always tell clients of ours that, as long as you're adding lots of value to the conversation on the channel, you'll know that it's working because people will respond. And that's one of the beautiful things about SMS is that feedback loop kind of tells you that you're on the right track right away, which is awesome to see, and lots of fun. So
Yeah, everybody will tell you the sky is falling, but then you can actually look at how well SMS is converting and go like, "No, that guys, everything's cool."
yeah, totally. So Amber, can same question to you. Can you speak a little bit about how Kapari is acquiring new customers and then using SMS?
Yeah, absolutely. So the majority of our acquisition efforts and I would actually say I would look at it as the majority of our acquisition budgets these days is focused on paid media. The largest majority is towards paid media or paid social campaigns. However, of course, we have influencer strategy, affiliate programs, press, third-party validation. But as Kent and you have been mentioning, there's a huge loss of efficacy in utilizing paid media to acquire those new customers. So what has really taken a front seat for Kapari this year is marrying and combining that relationship of our acquisition channels with those retention channels. And Kent and Mike, as we were talking about yesterday, I really look at email and SMS as acquisition channels these days, and understanding the lift and the value of utilizing really our old acquisition channels and our current acquisition channels to drive traffic and to drive that lead generation towards email and SMS these days. So on paid social and through our paid media campaigns, a lot of these campaigns we still optimize and utilize for that lower funnel, for those conversion campaigns, with the desire to drive that direct response. But as we all know, these days, acquiring those new customers and driving that immediate response isn't as efficient as it used to be. So really through our models and as we build out the goals of our campaigns, we understand that our paid media will drive that lead generation to acquire leads through our website to acquire leads for email and SMS. And then once we have those leads, we utilize different welcome flows and different messaging through SMS to communicate, educate, and create interest for the brand through our SMS campaigns. And as Kent mentioned, SMS continues to be one of the most efficacious platforms for us through all of our acquisition efforts. And there are a couple of strategies that we've actually implemented on site that I would love to share in terms of acquiring increased leads for SMS on site. So what we've installed is we have a two-step capture on site. So it's essentially we ask our customers to enter their email and SMS to receive discount codes on their first order. We as a brand obviously are very cognizant of the amount of discounts we offer our customers. We want them to shop Kapari without a discount code, but of course we understand the value and what that will do for that new customer right off the bat. We also have SMS pop-up and exit capture. So if we notice someone's user behavior, they're about to leave the site, or they've gone to a couple different landed pages, haven't added anything to cart, we'll have that SMS pop up once again to try to gain that lead into our SMS into the platform.
Awesome. And so Amber, you have the two-step pop-up, email first, then SMS. Kent, you mentioned that you guys have SMS first and
yeah, we actually asked for the phone number first. We made that switch, and for me, being a longtime email marketing manager, that was like pulling a band-aid off. It hurt for a second, but I just went, this is the channel of the future, and email might be the retention channel. And to add to what you were saying, Amber, maybe email's the retention channel and SMS is the attribution channel this year for sure.
Yeah, love that. Obviously, love to see people taking the plunge to prioritize SMS before email. Obviously, different for all brands.
Well, I have to give you a plug. It was our Postscript Plus team that we work with who handles our Postscript, our pop-up integration. So,
yeah.
You guys pitched me on it, and I follow your advice when it's good, right?
Absolutely. And Mike, I actually have to take this time as well to give you guys a shout out because we worked with your team. I think we might have been the first brand to do the two-step capture. So we actually worked with our partner at Wonderkin to implement that. So yeah, the Postscript team and you guys are amazing.
Awesome. Very much appreciate that. We love hearing that from our merchants. And I would say, like, just as a general rule of thumb for folks listening who are trying to get the most out of their own marketing, this is a totally appropriate place to be experimenting, right? Is you just email with a discount, without a discount, email, then SMS, SMS, then email. There's a bunch of different configurations. And to some folks, it might sound like, small, minor optimizations. But what we see when we're working, especially with folks on our Postscript Plus team, these small optimizations can make the difference of you having 2, 3, 4x the amount of phone number captures and email captures. And so definitely, especially during these summer months, getting ready for the rest of the year, I think it's a great experiment that I would encourage folks to test out. So just some food for thought. Awesome. So let's talk about personalization. We talk about personalization all day long at Postscript, and specifically about how we create experiences for existing customers versus prospective customers. How do you approach personalization both in SMS, but also in the rest of your marketing efforts too? This question is going to be for both of you. Kent, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. We kind of approach our marketing the same way that Postscript approaches their clients, and that's why I've always I've been a Postscript partner for a long time. And when I joined the Perfect Keto team and they told me that they were using Postscript for SMS, I was on board. I know that you had the capabilities that I need on the technology side to carry out like my personalization wish list. And my wish list is that anywhere that we can personalize something, let's do it more and better than the next guys. If there's a text that we're sending out as a campaign, is there a way that we can send two texts that are slightly more personalized? Just look everywhere that you possibly can for ways to personalize everything more, whether your list is 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people. Whether it's using a flow, using a campaign, using an automation, if you have access to all of that. If you don't, just A/B testing your campaigns. I know that we're all in a hurry and we want to get that campaign sent out, but it really doesn't take that long to just think, can I test a different color? Can I test a different graphic? Can I test a different link placement? We've tested whether the link should be at the bottom or in the middle, so just come up with something to test, because to your point, Mike, it all just moves the needle that little bit. And that's in this economy right now, that little sliver of the needle moving is life or death. That's the difference between being profitable or not, certain quarters for certain companies. So I think everything adds up, but we're actually able to make these optimization choices based on data and not just our knee-jerk reaction. And I think that we're grateful. And I know that we've mentioned like the dreaded iOS, updates and everything, but so far I think that we have really good insight into our customer behavior, and as long as that continues to be true, we'll continue to be the channel for both acquisition, and we see better conversions than the other channels.
Awesome. Amber, how about you? For Kapari, how are you approaching personalization in SMS and in the rest of your marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. And Kent, you just make such a good point that sometimes it's really the little things that can help make that needle move. And I would say one of the largest things that we do in our communication style is really being conversational with our SMS list. We look at it like we're talking to a friend. People are in their messages, right? Because they want to know, what the plans are for tonight or what you did over the weekend. So they're in the platform already, ready to engage and ready to really consume what you're sending them in that messaging type platform. And we have the opportunity to really communicate with these prospects and these existing customers in this different, unique and engaging way than you even can through emails, which is one of the big differences for us through SMS and our email channels. One of the big things for us is when we have new launches or items are back in stock or out of stock, we really utilize SMS in this way, because we find that the customers are the most engaging through that SMS platform, and we speak to them as if we're sharing secrets, as if when items are back in stock, they're the first to know. People love that urgency message. No one wants to feel like they're missing out. So when you can, one, speak to them as if they're your friend, two, like you're telling them a secret, and three, that they're the first to know, and they're in on it, it really proves efficacy for us there. One of the really big things that we use through SMS is segmentation. Is, even if they're returning customers, it's what kind of returning customer are they? Are they high AOV? Are they, loyalists, 3-time purchasers? Do they only purchase during sale periods? Is we like to build those segments out and make sure that we're speaking to those customers each in the unique way in their purchase buying behavior. And a couple new efforts that we've implemented in 2022 are automations, which again, shout out to the Postscript Plus team. We have done this through email, I would say, for the past 2 years or so, essentially abandoned browse, abandoned cart, shipping updates. And we've actually found that people really enjoy and engage with not only, oh, I, abandoned my cart, I don't want to miss out on those products, or, you abandon the page and then you hit them with social proof to create some more of that FOMO messaging. But people really like the shipping updates. People like to know when their packages are arriving. Like, I even think about myself as a consumer. When I buy things, I check Amazon every hour. I'm like, when is this package arriving? So you get those messages, and we actually find that people will get those messages and return to buy even quicker, which is interesting. So that's proved really efficacious for us. And then something else that we've recently implemented are replenishment flows. Shout out to Repeat. If anyone works with Repeat, they're just absolutely incredible. But essentially what these replenishment flows are is based off of their buying behavior, we will send them a replenishment reminder, and it's actually dynamic and based off of data that is pulled through Shopify. Where when we originally launched it, we were saying, okay, if someone bought, product A in 60 days, let's send them a reminder to replenish. What Repeat has done is they've helped us be smarter in this process, and that based off of the Shopify data and when people had previously purchased, we can send them those reminders essentially when they might actually need it, right? It might be 30 days or 75 days, but we found that it's worked better for us because consumers are actually running out of their products. And we have that proven data. So that's worked really well for us. And then also personalized carts. So sending people links to products that they've previously purchased, and they have that education on hopefully that proven experience and that they enjoyed the product. So it's essentially, we're saying, we know you bought these products before, and then we'll send them those personalized carts through SMS as well.
Yeah, Amber, I know that you have customers like we do who just love your brand and are excited when they are to be meant to, that we remembered to remind them. It's this extra layer of just like, we took the extra care to program this thing to send it to you that works so well. And I know that you and I geeked out about Repeat the other day and all the predictive analytics that it brings to the platform. So if anybody who's watching has a list that's large enough to, because you have to have a certain size of a list in order for the predictive analytics to kick in. Definitely, both of us can endorse the Repeat people on the channel who integrate with Postscript so well. So that would definitely be something that I let Amber mention that Perfect Keto is also doing. So many of the things that Kopari has implemented in the last year, Perfect Keto also has. So I just want to bring it back to like, it's not the apocalypse, people. We have SMS. There is hope on the horizon. There's a lot of things that you can be doing right now, even if you are seeing that decrease in conversions. There's a lot of new technology that can help you get out of that slump.
Yeah, totally agree. And I guess the one thing I'll double down on from something Amber was talking about, shipping notifications via SMS, the transactional messaging component is what I think probably like the lowest hanging fruit to add tons of value to what your customers actually want to know. And it's a way to get people to engage with the channel in a really, really big way. I know, Amber, you're not alone. All of us, have like, we're peering through the window waiting for our package to show up every single day, checking on it. And like, everyone gets all excited when the shop app tells them it's being delivered. Being able to do that through SMS is just like a perfect marriage of like the right message over the right channel for consumers. So if you're not using shipping updates or transactional messaging via SMS, you're really missing out on an easy, high impact opportunity.
And then, Mike, if I may just add one more thing to that, because as you know, Kent and you and Mike and I are talking about this, it might sound to anyone like on the webinar, this sounds like a lot of touch points, right? It's a lot of communication sent out maybe right away, especially with those shipping updates. I mean, just like, to be completely honest, when we launched all these new automations, I was like, is this too much? Are we saying too many things? And one of the things that I have found, especially through SMS, is people are ready to consume this type of messaging, when they're looking at their phone. And our unsubscribe rate has actually gone down since launching all of these new automations, especially with the number of SMS leads that we're acquiring. They've decreased, but this is just all to say that it's to Mike's point, it's very low hanging fruit. And one of the things that I would say to anyone getting into SMS, or if you're hesitant to launch all of these new personalized touch points, we have seen it prove efficacious. And Ken, I'm interested to hear if you've seen the same. But SMS is definitely one of the platforms that I would say the more touch points that you have, I can't promise that it'll work better for you, but what I can say is that it hasn't hindered us, or we haven't seen any negative impact yet on our side.
Yeah, we've absolutely. I think we've been early adopters of SMS, maybe, so maybe we're a little bit biased. The idea that email was always going to become less and less effective, especially during the pandemic, when literally every company in the country was reduced to sending emails. So every mom and pop on Main Street is now your competitor, where in 2019 that wasn't the case. So the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, has skyrocketed, and that's just like inflation. That's something that you can predict. You can, just look at the numbers and say the customer acquisition cost in 2020. I wrote a blog post in 2021 about how terrible the customer acquisition cost in 2022 is going to be. And of course, we've seen that play out. It's not always going to be that way. Email may bounce back. There may be people that they don't see a return on investment to their email campaigns. To your point, Amber, if you're on the fence and hesitating about whether to spend the money on the marketing budget to build out the SMS campaign, I would say, yeah, you'd be dumb not to. It's the channel of the future. Just go all in, because those companies that I work for that do go all in, see that they continue to try to drive more and more subscribers to the SMS channel. So why would people do that if it wasn't paying off for them, right? Just makes a lot of sense. And again, to the point that just like people love to get texts, we see the same thing. If we send more texts, we see more engagement. We don't see when we send more emails, we see people get angry that we sent them that one last email and they unsubscribe, so it's a completely different thing. It's conversational, to your point. You like it when the company that you love texts you back. We love that.
Yeah, we're not ghosting anyone over here.
Love that. So Kent, that's a great little segue. Perfect Keto's been early adopters of SMS. You all do really cool messaging on the channel. So what about new approaches? Are you planning anything new for SMS that you're excited to roll out?
Well, with the success of the first couple of two-way communication flows, we're definitely going to be using Flow Builder for all campaigns moving forward. Our 4th of July campaign had a flow. Father's Day had a text us a cheesy dad joke flow that outperformed my wildest expectations. So with the help that we get from our Postscript Plus team, we build out these flows at the beginning of the week for a site-wide holiday sale, and then we just let them fire, rather than the old approach of building out campaigns and sitting there and scheduling them, one after the other. So the flow is able to actually take into account each individual's behavior as they move through it. And it's just a much more, I know personalized has been like the word of the day, but there you go again, a way to do everything. So definitely with the Flow Builder. We talked a little bit about how much we've built in personalized carts into the customer journey. So we want to see personalized shopping carts, personalized carts, things that are actually recommending based on your browsing preferences, not based on what the company is trying to sell you. Perfect Keto is all about that. We're trying to get you to reach your health goals. We're not trying to sell you on one product or another one. We're trying to help you find the product that's going to make you feel and look better. I think with companies like Perfect Keto and Kapari, who are trying to appeal to the customer in their shopping experience, that's huge, right? We're not selling somebody that somebody needs necessarily. We're selling something that is going to make them feel in a certain way. So we can ask them, how are they feeling? And I have that freedom to ask them, what are your goals? And then put those products in front of them that will actually help them reach those goals. So if I can shorten their customer journey to one click because I just put together the perfect shopping cart for them and all they have to do is click and check out, to the same extent, if I can shorten their journey by getting them to be a recharge subscriber through the Postscript integration with the recharge subscriptions, and then they never have to worry about it again, and they get all their perfect keto products delivered to them on a monthly basis like I do, then that, I think, is helping people out. It does help our bottom line, but it is in a way that it keeps the customer's journey at the forefront of everything. So that's everything I think that we're doing new. We're going to be more competitive than ever before for Black Friday, and now we're going to get into that. It's not a time to just sit on your pandemic successes and assume that everything is going to be come up roses in 2020. You really have to keep pushing. But I think if you do keep pushing, there's a lot of opportunities out there still, for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. Amber, for Kupari, can you speak a little bit about the approach here as well? Are you using this time to test out any new strategies in general? What are you all excited about building onto the channel?
Yeah, absolutely. And as Kent mentioned, we try to make our customer experiences through SMS as efficient as possible. So the previous strategies that we discussed, abandoned browse, abandoned cart, the shipping updates, the dynamic replenishment flows, those have been working really well for us. So what we continue to test is or even the timing that we send these messages out. Are we sending them 90 minutes out, 2 hours out, testing the different content in each of the messaging, testing the types of imagery that we have, testing whether it's, a still in the messaging, is it a GIF? Those little things that essentially drive higher clicks and even what that content is, and then of course leads to those conversions. In terms of new strategies that we're implementing on the SMS side is something I'm really excited about, and something I feel like we've been working through all summer. Is we just recently launched a quiz. So this quiz will live on our homepage, and then of course we're driving traffic to it through listicles and then driving to the quiz. And this is really an acquisition and retention play for us. Acquisition and retention through the paid social side, and through email and SMS. And then essentially what the goal is with these quizzes is to better understand not only, what the customers are looking for, but even products that we can recommend to them. And once we have, their quiz answers, or even the questions, that they engaged with the most, is we can send stronger SMS flows and cross sells and upsells, knowing essentially not only what they're looking for, but based off of previous consumer buying behavior, we can say, customers bought product A, we know that they also like product B and C, so we'll continue to send them personalized, Kent, using your word, using our word of the day, Ken.
Right. You can't not say it. It is the word of the year, for sure.
Yeah, it'll be my next tattoo, I think. But being able to speak to these customers in a more educated and engaging way. So overall, new strategies, everything that we talked about, the quiz, it's really exciting. We've seen a lot of return on it. And just to the point, using it again is when someone's taking a quiz, they're like, oh, I'm taking this quiz for me, right? Like they have my personalized routine ready. I need to let them know, what my day-to-day looks like and what my, skincare and body care needs are, so they can send me that list. And then just in terms of new strategies that we've implemented in our overall marketing strategy, and just I feel like with everything going on in the current market, I feel like we're always testing, whether it's content, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And Kent even mentioned it earlier on the call as being media buyers and working in this space, how huge and large of a play that content has in our day to day. But even new channels, working with new paid social channels, TikTok, utilizing direct marketing, those have all proved really efficacious for us in this year.
Awesome. I love the quiz approach. That first party data that you get from working someone through a quiz funnel is just unbelievably powerful in the rest of the customer journey. So I love seeing that. So November is only 3 months away. So it's obviously getting to be the start of the biggest selling season of the year. Everyone in e-commerce has seen exponential growth through the last 2 holiday seasons due to COVID. And we're probably unlikely to see that extreme growth again, at least just, automatically built in to the holiday. And so I'm curious how you all are approaching Cyber Week, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Are you doing it differently this year compared to the last couple of years? I'd love to hear a little bit about how each of you are preparing. So Kent, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, we're absolutely doing it different. I think every Black Friday you kind of do it a little bit different, but this one for sure, everything's directed by the supply chains. We don't have the luxury of like scheduling things when we want them from the marketing perspective. It all comes down to when we can get the stuff in the warehouse. And I think that you just can't look at it too early. So we're already having these meetings because I don't want to just be selling out long inventory on the Cyber Monday. I want to be incredibly competitive, and I want to put those best selling products that people are really looking for and build a lot of value. We're not going to take this one for granted. We're going to be more competitive than we ever have before. We're going to put those products that people really want to see deeply discounted at the deepest discount that they're going to see all year. So, just in a nutshell, that's my strategy: more, harder, stronger. Let's go like we've never gone before, because I think that we're going to have to make up that whatever number that Mike you put in front of us. I'm going to be looking at that graph right after this to see, but I think that we're all down that 15% that you guys are graphing, and we can't see that for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We still need to get people to come out. We actually have subscribers that only shop on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So one idea is to segment out those people who shopped last year on Black Friday and they haven't since, and make sure that they're getting the best deal. So just putting that customer first and making sure that you're trying to serve them with your campaign, because it's going to pay off for you, and it's going to make your bottom line better in the long run.
Totally. Amber, how about for Kapari? How are you all handling Black Friday, Cyber Monday this year?
Yeah, and Kent, you brought up so many great points that I would just like to expand on. Is one thing too that we're extremely cognizant of during our big sale periods is making sure we have inventory of those most popular products. You could argue that people, might be in your email and SMS flows all year and they're waiting for those peak periods, right? They know that most brands will do a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but then of course they see, oh, this product's out of stock. Oh, this is their most popular product. Oh, that got so much press throughout the year. So they're waiting for that product. So we definitely make sure and try to have inventory of those most popular products for when people are shopping during those peak sale periods. And Kent, you also mentioned that we have customers that really do only buy during those sale periods and during, peak periods. And we want to make sure that while we are engaging them throughout the year, that we're speaking to them specifically saying, hey, this sale is up. If you're waiting, here's what you can look forward to, and making sure that when they're in that I'm ready to buy mindset, that Kapari is top of mind when they're doing that. Something else that...
And you might know your new products, but they don't necessarily. So don't forget to reintroduce your new products. But please go ahead, Amber. I know you guys launch as many new products as anybody, but we've got, I think, 4 this year. And just to put those top of mind for everybody who might have missed out on all of your previous campaigns, they only pay attention this 1 week in November. Well, let's make sure that we reintroduce them to everything this 1 week in November, right?
That's actually a fantastic point, Kent, because one of the things that we try to do leading up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday is a re-engagement strategy. So I'm sure as most brands, we have email and SMS lists that are like our VIP, our most engaged, and they're the ones who get every single campaign send. So to your point, Kent, we can have people that are in those lists that haven't necessarily seen a launch in a couple of months. So one of the things that we do leading up to the sales are, hey, here's what we've been up to. Here's what editors are saying. Here's what your peers are saying about these products. So not only are they getting excited about the sale period, but they're getting excited about the new launches that Kapari has had for the past year. And then one other thing that I want to note that I think is important that we talked about earlier is we understand, and in 2022, it's actually, we probably have spent the most in our paid media and gaining those leads So what we want to do with that is making sure that we're talking to them and making them aware of the new sales coming up through that segmentation and through email and SMS.
Yeah, love that. Makes a ton of sense. I know, I guess my call to action for everyone on the call today would be, it's never too early to start thinking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I know it can be daunting or scary to think about all the changes or tweaks that need to be done to make this one as successful as the last few. But preparation is the best possible approach here. So always be testing, make sure you're prepped, and you still got time, but now's the time to start thinking about it. So before we jump into Q&A, I have one last question for each of you. Both of you are early adopters of the platform. You use all of what Postscript has to offer, from flow builder to automations to integrations. And so Amber, starting with you, what are some of the most creative wins that you've had over the last year, or things that you're excited to continue to?
Yeah, absolutely. And these might seem like little changes or optimizations that you can make, but we've just really seen this have such a great lift and have value even in this last year. But even having imagery in your messaging, showing people essentially what the product is, it creates that next level of education and engagement through the SMS to get them to click over to the website and really see what everything is all about. Using social proof has been really, really efficacious for us this year through SMS and email. Having anytime we get press, we make sure that that's turned into an email and an SMS messaging. We spoke about this a lot, but being extremely conversational, speaking to them like they're your friend, creating that urgency, exclusivity. As Kent and I keep saying on this call, is we view our SMS as that VIP list. So you want to they're not only VIPs in our minds, but we make them feel like they're our VIP and our loyalists. And then just a couple other creative wins across really all of our marketing sphere as a whole is really the efficacy of using UGC, that third-party validation. And it's not just showing people using our product and what it means to them, but them talking about it, them speaking to the benefits, them speaking to the problems and the solutions that our products have offered them, has really made, I would say, a 180 in what we've seen in terms of content this year.
Yeah, Kent, how about you? Anything that stands out to you as a huge win, things you're excited to keep doing?
Yeah, there were too many to count. As I previously mentioned, we launched 4, I hope I'm not forgetting one, new products in the last 6 months. And so we just kind of went from one to the next to the next. And now it's time to look back and leverage that social proof and see what people are saying and follow up with the post-purchase flows so that we nurture people as they're receiving their new product for the very first time. They know what to accept, what to expect, and maybe remind them again to replenish a few weeks later. So all of those flows for the customer journey you can put in place even if you have a small list. You can they can run in the background. That the predictive analytics or the AI or machine learning or whatever you want to call it is choosing the correct time to send that message that you crafted. And that's the best thing for an email marketing director, is to know that while I'm on this call with you, my flows are out there converting, and they're turning people who are new subscribers. If they've just subscribed to our SMS, but they've previously been customers, then they get a personalized experience. So we're not talking to them like they just discovered our brand. We know that they previously used our products. And to the point of having VIPs, building up that loyalty tier where you talk to your VIPs, and it's not just some badge that you give them in the game of life. You actually treat them differently. I can't, I know I sign up for everything. So when I sign up for all these VIP loyalty things, they promise me the sun and the moon and the stars when I first sign up. And then they send me the same newsletter that everybody else gets once a month. Try to get away from that and actually build some craft an experience for your VIPs that sets them aside from everybody else. So we religiously give our VIPs 24-hour early access to a sale. And whether the timing works for us or not, I made a promise, and they're going to get that 24-hour early access. Whatever it is that you promised, like, hold yourself to it, and your VIPs will reward you. I've mentioned it before that the content is key. So let's just try to get the best content out there, even if it doesn't convert, knowing that you're rewarding people for subscribing to your list with great content, which is what they want. And then they will reward you when that site-wide sale, when that holiday sale, that big site-wide clearance comes along, and the Black Friday, Cyber Monday comes along, they will reward you with higher conversion rates, which is sometimes a hard sell, especially if you have a boss who just wants to see those conversion rates on every single campaign, but you have to put in the hard work of writing the good content, and you will see the conversion rates down the road. Luckily, I don't have a boss like that. In case she's watching.
Okay, you actually just made a really good point that I'd like to expand on in keeping your word to the VIPs into the list. Is we actually send to our SMS list for any launch. You guys are the first to know, and we make sure that for 24 hours they're the only ones that are able to shop that product. So we make sure that they don't see emails or they don't see paid social ads. And even when we've gone back in stock on products, we make it a point to let that SMS list know, because they look forward to that, and they truly are the first to know before anything else goes live.
Awesome. I love those suggestions. Okay, questions. We got dozens and dozens of awesome questions rolling in. There's no way we're going to be able to get to all of them in this time we have allotted. So what we'll do is we will post a recap on the Postscript blog. We'll cover all of the additional questions that we don't get to today. So thank you, Kent. Thank you, Amber. I know that everyone's wheels are turning, so let's jump into the questions here. First one, what KPIs are the most important ones to follow at the moment?
I feel like you can go ahead, Kent, because I feel like that is a loaded question.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Click rate. I think click rate is really the guiding star. Open rates are a little screwy right now. The click rate will always guide you in the correct direction. So at the very simplest level. I also look at revenue per recipient, however that gets broken down. That's an important one to know. But with the SMS channel, I tend to send more frequently than with other channels. So I want to make sure that there's a reason for doing it. And, sometimes that revenue per recipient can be a little bit tricky, because you might send something that's purely interactive. To my point, it doesn't actually have a high converting link, but it is still valuable to your campaign strategy. So I would also say don't always be led by the KPI. There's no KPI that's foolproof, right? You have to see the context behind all of them. But definitely look at that click rate.
Amber?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Kent that click rate is really important to us. The revenue per subscriber. We also look at conversion rate with the SMS. If there's a high click rate but not a lot of order, that gives us insight into maybe something that's happening on the landing page side. Tons of different variables. But then globally, one of the things that's really important for us to look at is that cost per new acquired customer globally for the month. So say, for instance, we understood that we increased spend and drove more website traffic to get those SMS leads leading up to a sale and a launch for, say that 14-week period. We want to marry that data and make sure that driving that traffic and driving those leads actually led to conversions through that sale period to prove the efficacy of that. So I would definitely say on the SMS side, CTR, conversion rate, order volume rate per subscriber, but then globally looking at that cost per new acquired customer as we marry our acquisition and retention channels, and then also our ROAS, that return on that ad spend to acquire those new customers.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. We talked a little bit about this, but always a perennial owned marketing topic. So what are your best practices to increase sign-up rate for email and SMS subscriptions? Amber, you want to kick us off with this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of increasing that sign-up rate, I would definitely recommend having capture on your website, whether it's a two-step capture or an exit capture. making sure that all of the traffic that you're driving to your site has the opportunity to sign up for your SMS list, whether it's 1 touch point or 2 touch points. And then in terms of utilizing other platforms like email, what we do before our launches, because our email list is much larger than our SMS list, as I'm sure a lot of other brands see as well, is we'll make sure to send out email saying, be the first to know about those launches, sign up for that SMS. And then another opportunity that we do is we do a lot of partner giveaways. So working with like-minded brands or even brands that aren't like Kapari, and essentially we'll do giveaways asking other brands customers to sign up for both of our email and SMS lists. Oh, and the quiz. I can't forget about the quiz.
Kent, anything to add?
The really quirky and fun sort of like mac and cheese nostalgia imagery that we came up with is going to be one of my favorite product launches of all time. So just getting back to that like childhood favorite, we if anybody doesn't know, we launched a low carb version of a boxed mac and cheese. We've also launched a low carb version of breakfast cereal. So we got to do some really fun stuff like riffing on the 1980s television commercials that anybody my age was subjected to far too often, in their childhood. But that was all to answer your question about just creative wins from a purely creative side. And then I think when you're getting into lead gen from paid, it's completely different than when you're getting into lead gen from social. So with paid, I want to nurture people. I want to make them feel like they belong, like they're not anonymous. Like nobody wants to be anonymous right now. So try to make them feel like they're participating in something and then actually give them that experience that reflects the personalization. So ask for more than their first name. Ask for something on the sign up and then use that in personalization. I think that with social media, especially with TikTok, we're all trying to convert our TikTok followers to SMS. They are super into interaction. They all want to feel like they're special, and so you should give them special keywords that they can unlock, maybe like customized content, private videos, secret landing pages on the website, secret flash sales. All of that plays really well on social. So we're not taking an omni-channel approach anymore where everything has to be the same message at the same time. We're playing to every channel's strengths. We know what SMS's strengths are, and now we can go to our other channels. At Perfect Keto, I'm blessed to work with some incredible channel managers where we can go put our heads together and come up with a creative campaign that helps us grow SMS, but also like makes sense for the audience, whether that be TikTok or Instagram or on your paid acquisition. And those definitely are the acquisition. When we see the paid budget go down, we see the we see the lead gen numbers fall as well. So we're looking at Amber keeps saying it, but we're looking at paid and social being the top of funnel acquisition channels now, and email and SMS being for converting. So build out those flows and make sure that they're all converting in your spare time.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying on the list growth. Just we at Postscript we talk to thousands and thousands and thousands of merchants, and the one thing that holds true in perpetuity is if you want to maximize your SMS results, you have to invest in list growth. And so if any of you who are listening are thinking in your head, well, like, Kent and Amber are talking about these awesome results and SMS is the future, and they're having all these great outcomes from this, but I'm seeing maybe something more mixed, or it's a little bit slower for me. I would say, it's time to shine a light on the list growth strategies that you're using, because very, very healthy and effective list growth is the fuel that your SMS program really needs to go to the next level. Okay, this is going to be our last question that we're going to have to wrap up. Unfortunately, like I said, we will cover all the stuff we didn't get to in a recap post that we will get up as soon as possible. Last question. Are you making a different welcome series for different keywords or for different audiences? Amber, you want to take this one on?
Yeah, absolutely. And the short answer is yes. And one thing, Mike, that I just want to quickly touch on in terms of list growth that Postscript is a great tool for is utilizing different keywords to grow that list, especially on your social channels. So what we will do before big launches or big sales is hit up our organic and other own channels and say, make sure you're signed up for SMS and utilize different keywords so we can speak to them differently. So yes, we do have different welcome series for different keywords and different types of customers, as well as those new customers that might have just purchased and then subscribed and have not yet purchased. So in these different flows for the subscribe not purchase, we spend this time educating them on the brand, on our clean active ingredients, founder stories, social proof press versus those returning customers or someone who had just purchased. It's more like, oh, we hope you love this product. Here are other products, and creating education in different ways versus feeling like we still have to create some of that persuasion and education to get them to purchase.
Yeah, Kent, are you guys doing something similar with Perfect Keto?
Yes, real briefly with Perfect Keto, we do have a different welcome series for first and second and third plus time customers. I think that's definitely worth building out. Those are 3 different groups with different call to action. With the first time customers, you just want to see them purchase a second time. With the second time customers, maybe you want them to leave a positive review or take some other action. Maybe tell their friends, maybe cross-sell them on another product line. And for the third time plus customers, you definitely want to start working them towards this VIP loyalty relationship. We also segment out the recharge subscribers, so they have a different experience as far as welcoming them into their subscription, because they can do things like skip a subscription. If their credit card is out of date and they need to put in a new credit card, there's all of these automations we can build for them to enhance their experience. So they are on a separate track. And then anytime I can, like even for a new promotion, like with the quiz, we all have these wonderful quizzes for lead generation that recommend products based on what your challenges are. The quiz has its own, and sometimes I'll make a lead generation like a piece of premium content that's just so huge and we're putting so much resources towards it that it'll just warrant its own series. Our Keto Kickstart is like that. It's a 30-day series of inspirational texts and emails. So they're in a completely different channel. And it does blow your mind to have to figure out how to, keep all these people separate and everything. But I will say that it is definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your knowledge. It's all the time we have for today, unfortunately. So massive thank you to Kent from Perfect Keto, Amber from Kapari. Thank you guys so much for leading this conversation and providing such an incredible resource for the entire community as we're navigating this uncharted territory. For people listening, please be sure to sign up for texts from Perfect Keto and Kapari on the website if you want to see what greatness looks like on the channel. That's a great place to go see it. In the meantime, we will have a recap of today's webinar, like I said, on our blog, so you can give it another watch and we'll get to all the questions there. And at Postscript, we want to keep on doing these types of webinars. So if you have any ideas for topics and you want to learn more about a particular item, please send an email to marketing@postscript.io or send us a DM on Twitter and we'll get the right on it. All right. Awesome. Thank you all so much. We will see you next time. Again, Kent, Amber, thank you so much. And good luck to all of you out there. And we'll see you sometime soon. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, Mike.
Bye.